paintings are full of unsolved mysteries. To understand the mystery of each picture, you have to get acquainted with the life and thoughts of its creator. Let these paintings come to life. Watch our new TV program at the gallery.
Undoubtedly, this master has written his name in the history of Kazakhstani art. ARIY Shkolny is considered to be the founder of AUSTERE style in the national painting. Today, we will study peculiarities of his artistic style on the example of shepherd's painting. This work was created at the turn of two periods in his painting, the early and the mature periods. Historic reference: Shepherds. Author ARIY Shkolny, 1960. Oil on canvas. December 2016, Almaty, Kastev State Museum of Arts. ARIY Shkolny's personal exhibition dedicated to his 19th anniversary. The hero of the anniversary was not present at the opening ceremony due to venerable age, but his colleagues, his talent admirers, his friends and relatives gathered there that day. Being an artist's daughter is great. As long as I can remember, from a very young age I have been proud, and I am still proud that my father is an artist. I was grown up among paintings, in the smell of paintings, with pastel crayons lying in a big box. Among the artist albums, which I was taken with reverence to watch illustrations. Father has always been travelling. He was rarely at home, and he often travelled in pursuit of inspiration, to sketch from nature, looking for the new themes for his paintings. He travelled all across the country, the whole Soviet Union. At that time, artists never stayed at the same place, going out sketching. And when he was coming back, I was expectantly waiting for him. I was looking out in the window, waiting if father is coming, and he was coming back with a backpack on his back and a sketchbook, with his inevitable beret on his head, in a windbreaker smelling with winds, steppe herbs and oil paints. And he always brought numerous sketches with him. Those numerous sketches stacked up in his workshop, out of which he was painting his big works, his paintings and genre paintings. Biographical reference: ARIY Shkolny was born on December 27, 1927 in Orenburg. He started his studies in Gogol Almaty College of Arts in 1941, but in 2 years he had to interrupt his studies, for he was drafted in the Red Army. For 7 years, ARIY served in border security troops in Tajikistan. Only in 1954 he got back to his studies in College of Arts in the workshop of Abram Cherkassky. ARIY Shkolny is the member of the Union of Artists and a honored artist of the Republic of Kazakhstan. He was born in the family of the architecture engineer, and he told me that his father and his brother were very good artists as well. ARIY Shkolny was only 10 when his father was arrested. He was victimized and banished to Siberia. In 1940, father returned, but in a year the war began and he was called up to the front line, where he missed in action. The war rewrote ARIY's fate as well. The 17-year-old boy replaced painting brush by a gun. And when in 1951 he returned to Almaty, he came to his college asking to be taken back. But unfortunately, some official decided that the interruption in studies had been too long. I'm sorry, but you won't do it. He went away, and for the next 4 years he worked as an aircraft radio operator in the Kazakh Department of Aviation, flying in planes. And only in 4 years he felt drawn to the College of Arts again. This time in corridor he met Abram Cherkassky, who said, "Where have you been missing? Isn't it time to get back to your studies?" Because Cherkassky really loved and valued him as his student. Historical reference: Abram Cherkassky is a Soviet artist. In the times of Stalin's spy hysteria, he was arrested as a Polish spy and banished to a concentration camp near Karaganda. In 1940, the artist was released. At the beginning of the war, his family evacuated to Akhtubinsk, from where he was invited back to Almaty to a position of the teacher in the College of Arts. It was Cherkassky who helped developing his individuality, because Father's works are unlike any other works. They are recognizable in the manner they are painted, their style and color. It is hard or even impossible to get them confused with any other, at least with the works of any other Kazakhstani artists. And then I started thinking of the roots of his art and his manner of painting. And I understood that Father is very different. For example, his early works in the 60s are very impressionistic. He liked delicate color gradation and light painting at that time. Irish Colnyi'S art is many-sided. He can easily put some beautiful moment of life to a canvas, adding it with tangible feelings and delicate vibration. This ability admires. How did the iron notes of the austere style got in this tender melody of Impressionism? Most likely, many are confused by his meeting with the artist Rokfo Kant, a big friend of the Soviet Union who came to Almaty. The first work he studied at which he liked was SHKOLNYI'S painting. Kant gave him his album with his own inscription, highly evaluating SHKOLNYI'S art. A lace might confuse someone, but because we speak of Shkolny as one of the artists of the austere style. But at the same time, he's diverse and multifaceted and many-sided. But in the Kazakhstani land, he was the first to use stylistic methods which are peculiar for this style. That is why we think that Shkolny first of all represents the austere style. Ali's definition is firmly associated with him, although all his other works do not remain without attention. Historical reference. Rockwell Kent is the American artist, writer and public figure. In the late 30s of the past century, he came out against fascism and fought for peace. Kent's socialistic views made him popular in the Soviet Union and favorable for the Soviet authorities. In 1960, Irish Colnyi acquaints viewers with the painting Shepherds, in which the transfer to the new stage of his art is clearly seen. It is already not romantic lyrics anymore, but it's not yet the strictness of austere style. Shepherds, it seems that it just depicts the reality of two shepherds' everyday life, and in general it seems to be done not in very rich coloristic solution. But at the same time, if you take a closer look at this painting, you will see what kind of grey is there, what shades, and what a play of color. How he managed to show these people with seemingly common occupations, heroic workers, making their features so spiritual that we may speak of romanticization of these characters. At the same time, this coloristic softness has some soulful mood to this painting. And we see not just heroes of the country, it's a very humane painting, taken from heart. The painting Shepherds is not strictly referent to the austere style yet, but it is forerunner. Those art experts who have seen the first, smallest sketch of the painting know that at first the artist planned to have more characters on the painting. But then he cleaned the space of the painting, made it brighter, and made the plotline more polysemic. I can tell you one thing. None of Kazakh artists portrayed as many Kazakh archetypes as Shkolny. Aral fishermen, shepherds. He walked across high mountain pastures with his friends. He made many drawings and sketches. Mainly, he worked from memory. He draws it with a pencil and goes back to the workshop. Any landscape, any mood, any light, he would do it perfectly with a color palette.
Достаточно посмотреть на его произведения.
Just look at these paintings describing the landscape of our land. They are laconic, with seemingly minimal set of artistic tools of painting.
Набором изобразительных средств произведения четко отражает.
But they clearly show this open space and austerity and diversity of our world.
И многообразие нашего мира.
But we can say so categorically, though, because in many paintings,
В своих произведениях он проявляется как...
he's revealed as a real romantic.
И вот сегодня, когда мы говорим...
And today, when we speak of the artist who is 90 years old, we see the strange parallel.
Молодые наши мастера стремятся...
As our young master are trying to find something negative, social, and somehow show nature, for example, through the prism of their own feelings, which are not always optimistic or loyal. They are more austere.
Достаточно лояльны, что ли, они жестче.
And the elder generation of artists impresses. In spite of having seen many difficulties and having gone through a hard school of life, they still remain people.
Видели достаточно много трудностей. Они остаются людьми.
They love life in all its manifestations and try to convey it in their canvases. The color composition of this painting is interesting as well. The artist mainly uses coat colors, the coat palette, and only a small light of cigarette and warm colors of shepherd's pea coats smooth this picture of common people's austere everyday life. First of all, he's very honest. He had a post in the Union of Artists, even sometimes was the acting chair of the Union of Artists. But he has never taken anything for himself. Nothing for himself. He was offered the title of the People's Artist of the Soviet Union, but he refused. He said, "Give it to Shardanov, for he has many children." Can you imagine this? That's the way it was. He is very romantic. He knows many poems by heart, and when he can't sleep at night due to insomnia, he reads poetry. And during the day he does crosswords. Crosswords and books are his hobbies. I think his soul is very light and clear, and it is reflected in his works. Ability to spot the present and get into a state of harmony with the world is a special talent. This ARIY SHKOLNYI'S talent is apparently God-given. He has always been sensitive to any manifestations of life. And this is amazing. In the 60s we see shepherds and some monumental landscapes. But among this big composition in his workshop you may suddenly find small sketches in with shapes and sea, which are very light and very modest at first sight. Do not claim to be put on big canvases or to be displayed in big halls of the museums and galleries. ARIY SHKOLNYI has always worked for himself, for his own soul. And of course, his talent, his professionalism made him understandable to all. In the 60s, ARIY SHKOLNYI consciously and decisively changed his manner of painting. Now it's a monochrome coloration, and most often the dark combination of colors is preferred. broad strokes and laconic compositions. Later critics would call this method of painting the austere style. Historical reference. The term austere style was firstly used towards works of the young Moscow artists, 60s. This genre was based on the Soviet fine art of the 20s, the pre-Stalin period. The art of Alexander Deynecker, Georgy Nisky, Peter Konchalovsky, Alexander Osmerkin, Aristar Lentulov and many others may be referred to the austere style. Austere style is considered to be a response to a fake social realism of Stalin's time. There are no more happy builders of communism on paintings. Now common people are the main characters. Their faces are weather-beaten. They are tired of hard work. Their life is depicted the way it is. Shkolny portrayed people. He painted workers, milkmaids, tractor operators, pig tenders, shepherds, fishermen. We went to a fish farm in Uralsk with him. We both painted, and this work turned into a triptych. The solution of the composition is interesting in this work. By lifting the horizon line, the artist extends the open of the land in comparison to the space of the sky. It gives an effect of intensifying the feeling of our steps' boundlessness numerously. Generally speaking, probably each master of the 50s had his own individual perception. Later there were a group of exhibitions aimed against or in support of something. But these painters worked individually, expressing their own vision of the world, finding some new opportunities and basing their works on the experience and history of the world art. Speaking of him, we speak most of the 50s and the 60s because this division is quite relative. Because, for example, the artist, 60s mostly created in the 70s. As for me, I think he is the master of all generations, and for the 50s and for the 60s. At the very beginning he proved to be the outstanding artist, and all his works starting from his first exhibition were appreciated and honoured deservedly. However, ARIY Shkolny always remained completely indifferent to any honours, rewards and popularity. He was not interested in it at all. The exhibition? What do I need the exhibition for? Art for art's sake. That's how he took it. Because the artist expresses his soul. But Philistines don't like this soul, what he painted. It's a masterpiece, but Philistines don't understand it. That's why I think that art is for the sake of art. I'm so happy that we opened this exhibition, because I think it's a wonderful jubilee, the 19th anniversary. He had a long life journey and a long artistic life. I think it is because God gave him not just a talent, but also the ability to live his life in art. Ability to see the beauty is a great gift. Ability to put it on canvas, taking it through your heart, is a great work. And serving the art is a great goal. I was once looking through his paintings in his workshop and found a sketch with an inscription. Let me quote it because it is important not to miss a single word. Father wrote it with his own hands. I don't think the art is what is done for money, glory, or in order to please someone. Art is a need to express your delight, fascination by beauty of nature, human or life, which amazed your soul by its unique beauty and perfection. He wrote down this note in 1999, and I think this phrase contains the whole sense of his art. I think it is not that important if there was a fee for his work. Because, as he said, the main was a need to express what was stored up in his soul.
что у него накопилось на душе.
During his long artistic life, he portrayed a great number of faces on his canvases. Those are common people busy with their everyday work. He was a hard worker just like them, but in the sphere of art. When the artist is free of greed and money-making, when he is not hunting for glory and rewards, his soul remains clean and transparent. And we can learn this devotion to people, his own land and his art from a big master, the Kazakhstani artist ARIY.
ARIY Школьного.